In this video we'll see how we can create custom providers. So I've created a folder for like 100 days, so I'm going to create around 100 videos for advanced NestJS stuff. Alright, so what I will do here, so I'll create a terminal on I mean I'll open a terminal here in this folder, and I'm gonna type nest new. I'll create a new project, custom provider. Okay, you can choose anything. I will be choosing npm for now. Alright, so it will install its dependencies for a while. So in this video, we'll take an example of logger service. We'll see how we can create a logger service with custom provider. Like, you must have seen how we create providers, we define services there, but in this video we'll see like how we can write custom providers. Alright, okay, so now if I do ls, I can just go in custom provider folders. I can do ls again, and I will just open it in my VS Code editor. You can open it in anywhere, wherever you want, whichever your editor is favorite, you can pick that up. All right, this is a file structure of the Nest basic new project. So I'm not going to go deep in this, like what are these things and how it is, how it starts. So basically it starts from your main.ts, then it bootstrap app module. All right, and then this app module will have all those module metadata, and similarly for the controllers we have this metadatas and all the steps. Okay, so first thing, for I'll need to open up my terminal here, and I'm going to create services, I mean one module, nestgmo logger. So I'm going to create a logger module. So you can use full form module as well. In short, you can use mo. So it will create a logger module here in this src. So src has a folder logger, and it has a class logger module and a metadata attrit module. All right, I need one service here, logger service. So I'll just do ngs logger. So it will create a service with the same name, logger dot service.eth, and this is a spec file, I mean for testing, which is out of scope for this tutorial. Alright, so now we have this service, we have this module. So when I created this module, it automatically added this in imports of my root module. That's fine. If I need to use it, any services or something of this module here in the root folder, app module, then I can use this module. All right, I'll go back in logger.service. I will open it, I mean expand this a bit, and I need to write some method here. Let's say in logger, generally we create two type of methods. One is log, another is error, right? And so these two things should accept one parameters, message and string, and this also will accept one parameter call, maybe string. It will be string. Yeah, you can create an object as well and do the other stuffs. But okay, now I'm just going to use console.log here. I'll just put some template log and dollar this message. Similarly for error, I'm just gonna use log.error, and will use backtick error, and here I can use variable message. Alright, so this is just a simple normal service which has one attrit injectable, means you can NestJS runtime environment can create an instance for it, means if you are aware of IOC, inversion of control, then dependency injection of container of this NestJS will take care of it and create an instance for this. So the first thing, generally what you do is you go in the module file and add it in provider. So this is the simple way of creating an instance, right? But the idea is for this tutorial is like how we can create a custom provider. So I'm just going to do a few changes, like if you want to create custom provider sorry, so we can just add one object here. Instead of doing this, well, let me just go in next line. Yeah, this object, the first thing is provide, and this will have a token. So a token is just a string identifier. You can understand it like this way. So I'm gonna put it in caps, logger service token. All right. Although the best practice is to not hard code, instead create a variable. So I'll follow that as well. Const I'm going to put the same thing in the string as well. We can definitely modify it later instead of changing here again. All right. Okay, now we can use value, use class, or use factory. So use class, use value, we'll see it later. For now, like we are creating custom providers, so we'll use factory. And in use factory, basically we can return any instance that will be provided when we request for this logger service. When we inject this logger service token, when we look for this token, this whatever we are returning from use factory here will be actually provided. So what we are going to do, what I'm going to do here is like I'm going to use this logger service, and I'm going to create one variable logger service, and I'm going to create new instance of logger service manually, and unlike in NestJS do it runtime at runtime. So I'm going to put one console log here, and this console log I'm going to put it logger initialized. I'm just logger service initialized. Okay, now I'm gonna return this logger service from here, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so now we have provided this service here with custom instance. We created instance manually. We took control and created instance manually, unlike dependency container of NestJS do it itself. But yeah, here we are creating ourselves. Okay. All right. Now the thing is, we want to use this token. We want this service to be available in other, you can say, in other modules as well. So each modules has its separate dependency containers. You can think it is like a scope, and each module has a different scopes. I mean, container will be separate. So if we don't export, then it will not know like which service we are trying to expose it to other containers. Like if in general, like if we had used this logger service here, and if we export it here from here, then this service instance will be available to use in other modules, right? And otherwise we cannot use it in other modules from here. Now what will happen, like first when it will trigger the logger module, it will check for the imports, then it will come for the providers, and it will create an instance for this, and it will expose it to other modules as well. And wherever we are importing this module, we can use this token. All right, this is done from for here. This is fine. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use one, I'm going to create one more module here, ngmo config. And why I'm doing this, I'll tell you in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna need one service here as well. So NestJS config. So why I'm saying this, I mean showing this is just trying to show you how this can also depend on some other different, I mean modules, how we can inject some third-party service here. What I mean by third party is like other services which are not associated with this logger service. Can we can also inject that also. We can also use it here inside. So how we are going to do? Let's say we have one service here. We have injectable means we can create a create an instance for this by NestJS container. All right. I'm gonna create one uh, method here for log level. So normally what we should do is like we should take these values from environment variable, so we can do the process.env dot and log level or something like that. We can create a env file here and we can do that. But for now, just to show how it works, let's say we have a service and we have this method, and we have already included this in module while creating this module. What else we can do? We want to use this service in logger service. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna export config service from here, otherwise its dependency instance will not be available. As a file I can import it, but in dependency container, so assume it like as a container, its dependency will instance will not be available to use in other modules. So if we have exported, now it is marked that we can it is actually now public. All right, so I'm gonna go here in this module and I'm gonna create one instance of config service. So the here, as we see, the type is config service. So now what we can do here is we can pass, so it will automatically not understand what from where this is coming. So to this, we want to inject config service instance here. So as we have created here, so this instance will be created by NestJS dependency management thing, so NestJS runtime. And we want to inject the same instance here. So what we are going to do here is we are going to use second parameter, I mean another property here, inject. And this, in this inject, what we can do is we can just pass config service. So now since I just wanted to tell you one more thing, like here generally what we do is when we add any service, so dependency container, how dependency container works is like it creates a token for this object or class, so with the same name whatever we are passing here. So the token for this provider, this service is config service. But here in this case, since we are writing custom provider, we can explicitly name the token as well, and we can keep it different thing apart from unlike the name of the service is logger service, but we are keeping the provider with something else. All right, so now we have injected this, so we can also use it here. So let's say we want to use config service dot get log level. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable for this log level, and I'm just going to modify a bit this log level logger with log level. What we can do, logger initialized with log level, and then we can just say this is the log level. All right, and the log level will be log level. Okay, I believe I haven't done anything wrong here. Just okay, fine. Now when we will run this application, now we can see this I mean log npm run start dev. Let's do this right away. Alright, so I'm getting some error, so let's fix this up. Logger service, make sure the argument config service at index 0 available in logger module context. Okay, so let me check it once. We have config service here. We have uh, added edit providers, and in okay, so if we want to use config service, the first thing we need to do is we need to import the modules. Otherwise it won't work. Even the service is exported from here, this won't work until unless we import the module. So here we need to write config service, not service, config module. And now if we restart, it should work. Now as you see, like what happened here, like first it bootstrapped the app module. When it went to app module, what happened is like it tried to import these things, and then it initialized the controller, and then it put providers. When it went to logger module, what happened is like it tried to import the config module first, and then it actually executed this line of code, just created instances of this logger service token, and then exported it. Similarly, when it reached here, it first went to config module, and here it found like there's no imports. It went to providers, and it created a dependency container, and it created an instance of config service, and then exported it. So this work in this, I mean, tree fashion. Okay, so when it reached this line, it created I mean this log this message here. So the log which we have put here, so now it is showing up here in the log itself in terminal. So what next? So what we can do here is like we can create one how to check whether this is working or not. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just remove this up, and I'm gonna use let's say we want to see like whether our logger is working or not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use log, and this will be a get request. And in this get request, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this app service since I'm not using it as of now. So I'm gonna type private read only. I will type logger service, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an instance. I mean the type of logger service is type, and I need to inject it as well. Since this is a custom token, so I will have to use @inject. Otherwise it would have injected it automatically. So what I'm gonna do, logger service token, remove this since it is not being used, and this I can access with logger service, and I'm gonna go and log. Hey, this is my message. Alright, now I'm gonna create one more method, error, and this error I'm gonna use same thing, this dot logger service dot log error, sorry, error, and I'm gonna write sorry for the error or something. Just trying to add some text so that we can test. Both will be get request, and I'll have to make it something else so that this two don't, otherwise this the next one, new one, this one will override, I guess. Okay, so if we try to open localhost 3000, how I know? So the port is 3000 right now. We are not providing it any from the environment variables. So if I go, let me just open some Chrome. Alright, nothing is happening. Hey, this is my message. What happened? Okay, let me do one more thing here. Let me return something from this HTTP request message logged, so that we can see, okay, this request is finished, and if I don't do that, the request will not finish. Okay, so return error logged. Okay, now if I refresh this, I'm seeing message log, and we are seeing the, hey, this is my message. And if I use error log, then this is saying sorry for the error. Alright, so as you saw, we can use custom provider as well uh, despite I mean, we can use simple provider like the default one, which NestJS automatically create an instance. We can also provide a custom format. I mean, we can create a custom object here. We can do other steps, complex logics here, and then return any object, whatever we want to resolve for this token, this token or string. I don't know how to explain, but this is identifier, you can understand. For this identifier, there will be one instance be mapped, and whatever which we are returning from here will be mapped to this. So when we are requesting uh, somewhere requesting to resolve this from this dependency container, then it will resolve this logger service that we have done it here in this app controller. And why this is working, since this logger service is working, because we have imported logger module, and also the logger service is we have exported this token. So let me try removing it and see if this works. So now it is throwing error, even though this is just a string. But you may confuse like why we can also import directly there. I understand importing the file directly in another file is different thing, but importing dependency container instance of any object or class is different thing. This is just making the instance which is mapped to this token, that will become a public what we can say public class or instance. So whenever we will request, we will be importing this module and request for the same using @inject, then that will be available there, otherwise it will not work. So that was it from this video. I hope you got something to learn from this. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next video.